Great day, attractive thinkers and visual encouragers around the world. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. This is where we support new and aspiring entrepreneurs just like you in writing their books and starting their business ideas. We provide the mental tools for mental healing, mental strength, and mindset maintenance. Welcome, my co host, Tichet Bradshaw, to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. We made it. We make it again and again. We get to do what we've never done, go where we've never gone, and have all that we deserve to have in this lifetime. It is a great day to be alive.
It is a fantastic and amazing day to be alive. Attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, I trust that you have your Attractive Thinker notebook handy because we're going to be dropping some gems today to support you in having a fantastic and amazing week. You want to start your week in an attractive thinker way. And I just want to remind you, if you haven't done so already, run on over to Amazon and grab your copy of the Attractive Thinker Experience. This 726-page transformational resource will support you in staying mentally strong. It takes an enormous amount of mental strength to step into entrepreneurship, to transform your life, to bring about any change, any form of change in your life, to do something new, to shift your identity. I'm not sure what it is, but as an attractive thinker, we're always growing. You may want to change how you dress. You may want to learn a new language. You may want to move to another country. You may want to revisit that childhood dream. You may want to start a business or write your book. Whatever that change is, the Attractive Thinker Experience will support you in staying mentally strong through that transition because we all know it takes an enormous amount of effort to change. And most of the time, if you don't have those resources, then it's easy to pull back and stay the same and fall back into the comfort zone and do what everybody else is doing because there's no resistance in that. Whenever there's resistance, in which it will be in whatever form of change you're trying to implement in your life, you're going to need mental tools. And that's why we are here. Beyond the Break exists to support you in living life beyond a break, be it a break in a success or a heartbreak. This is why we show up every single week because we understand that it's going to take support to help you live life beyond the break. Some people don't even know that there is a life beyond the break to shed, beyond a break in a success, or beyond a heartbreak, or frustration, or disappointment, or a setback. There is life beyond that. And with these attractive thinker tools, you will be able to experience that life. It will support you and get into that space in your life, whereas you can enjoy that life beyond the break. And it calls for some transformation. Today, we're going to be talking about just because you can doesn't mean that you should. You might say, and write that down in your attractive thinker notebook. Just because I can doesn't mean that I should. When you are experiencing a break or coming out of a break or living beyond a break, you're going to have to set up boundaries in your life in order for you to continue to be successful in these different spaces in your life. And as an attractive thinker and a visual encourager, you're multi-talented. You're a leader in your own right, in your own space. You're dependable and you're reliable. You're respectful. You're creative. You come up with the answers. You're the one that always takes the first step. You're the one that they call on to lead, to be in the position, to take the role. You're the one they call when they have problems and or they need someone to talk to. It's you. And with that being the case, you have to set up boundaries around yourself because just because you can do all things doesn't mean that you should. Being multi-talented to shed down through the years and having this kind of heart to help and to serve and to be a solution, I didn't know to set up boundaries. I thought that If somebody needed help and I had an answer, I'm obligated to help. Because if you don't, then there's a whole other set of energies and emotions and thoughts that go along with not helping when you could help, not giving an answer when you have the answer. But I had to learn that everybody, I'm not sent here for everybody. I'm sent here for the attractive thinkers. I had to learn that the resources, the answers, the solutions that I have are for attractive thinkers. Now, that might sound kind of weird. It might sound strange, but you will, if you don't get it now, you'll grow into it. And the only way I grew into it, Tichet, was through experiences. I had to keep having these experiences until I became strong enough to understand that I had to set up boundaries around this gift. I had to set up boundaries around these solutions, this message. I had to set up boundaries and target and focus and steer this destiny into the direction of attractive thinkers, because some people will come to you, and attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, I want to inform you of this because you may not know it. Everybody who comes to you for a solution doesn't want an answer. Some people like your energy and they just want to be around you. Some people will say that they want answers and they just want to hear you talk. They don't have anybody to talk to. So they come into your presence just to have someone to talk to. And you're spilling the beans, you're spilling your gifts. And it takes energy and time and effort for you to do that. And then they do nothing with what they just got from you. So you have to discern. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. You have to know your audience. As a new inspiring entrepreneur, you have to know your audience. Who are you talking to? You have to know what solutions you bring and what problems they have, so that you're not wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your effort, your gifts, and your creativity and your heart. When you have a heart for people and you have a heart to help, you are spending your heart energy in the presence of people that you think want your answers. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Talk to us, Tisha.
That's the fastest way to a heartbreak, is
Mm,
not discerning a certain environment, not discerning people, and giving your heart to people who never had any good intentions with it.
mm,
That's the fastest road to a heartbreak, because you think they should accept it because it seems good to you. You have the
mm,
greatest intention to
mm,
give them an answer,
mm,
and you're sitting, like you said, you're sitting there spilling all the beans, and they're sitting there staring at you. You have to know when someone is receptive and when they're
mm.
not.
That's
And
good.
that's one of the things that you have to discern too, because like you said, everybody's not receptive. So once you understand that someone is receptive, then yes, pour into them, give to them, especially if you know they're going to take something with the cup of sugar that you gave them and they're going to make cookies out of. Pour into those are the people you want to pour in. But
Mm-hmm.
people who's going to take everything you say and do and put it on the shelf as if you never did anything,
Mm,
go in there and watch some TV instead, because you might as well do absolutely nothing,
mm,
because you're wasting your time pouring into people who have no intention of taking what you have to give and doing anything with it. Now, here's the thing: once you give to a person, you can't control what they do with it, right? But one of the things that is a pet peeve of mine is for somebody to waste my time,
mm,
waste my energy, and even waste my money, right? Because we always talk about those are your currencies: your time, your energy, and your money. These are the things
mm,
you're trading when you're into acting with anybody else. You're either trading
mm,
time, you're trading energy, or you're trading money. Either
mm,
way,
mm,
conversations, a trade of thoughts and ideas, right? And energy, because thoughts and ideas do come with the energy. You can be having a conversation with somebody and it could be uplifting, or you could be having a conversation and not paying attention, and that person all of a sudden turn your energy and they end up hitting one of your triggers, and now your energy go from good to now you got to be a monster,
mm,
right?
mm,
This is the thing: when you discern a person, you're not going to sit there and give all your goods to people who mean no good to you, right? the thing that we could learn more from is understanding that we're not everybody's cup of tea. You can do everything right and
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
piss off some people.
Yeah.
Still end up, people always have something to say, people have some criticism. You can do everything the right way and still people will not be happy. So in order for you to save your heart,
Mm-hmm.
and to protect your energy and to protect your spirit, you do the best you can with what you were given out of your passion and out of your love. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can't, let somebody else take care of that, right? But even though you can do stuff out of your spirit and your heart, making sure that it is in the right soil,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we don't want to be planting and you just throw a seed on the ground and
Mm-hmm.
then it's not productive, right? Leaders love productivity in their life. And so whenever they're going to sow something, they wanted to give back, right? Even if they do money, they're doing it so that they have some sort of revenue, right? So they wanted to have some sort of overflow, something that's given back. You don't want to just be sowing for nothing, right? Because again, you're wasting your time, energy, and your money, which is your most valuable currency. And we have to protect those things whenever we're interacting with anybody. Another thing, Dr. Toni, um, you talked about being talented, being gifted and talented, and having all these gifts and talents does not mean that this is what you have to operate under. This is the fastest way to wear yourself out. Just because you can don't mean you should, right? You say, oh, I'm good at cooking, so I must need to become a chef, or I'm good at doing hair, so I have to be a hairdresser, or I'm good at talking to people, so I must be a therapist. And you go and you operate under everything you're good at, but you could just be a multi-talented person who's good at anything they touch. So how do you choose what you should do and what you should not do? Discernment, passion, love, choose it from your heart. What part is for you and which part is not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything is not for you. Everything is not your household. Every word you receive is not for your household. And when I say word, I mean from like when you go to church or when you listen to a message, everything is not for your household. You have to discern what's for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to resonate with something in order for you to be able to accept it. If the movement is not resonating with you, why would you waste your time and energy, waste their time and energy, and get and be in the way for the person who really loves to do what you just happen to be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
We got to be able to get out the way so that the people who have a passion for this can do this.
Yes.
The people who have a love for this can operate under this
Mm-hmm.
freely.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying, okay, if you have a talent for something, do you have the passion to go with it? Do you even have the desire to do it, or are you doing it because you think it's the right thing to do? So a lot of people, for instance, they might go to church but have no interest in being in the spirit, being one with God. They go because that's the thing to do. There are some people who are preaching in these churches and they have no intention to helping people. They just trying to help themselves, like the people that says everything is a business.
Mm-hmm.
It Yes, it is a business, but at some point it should be a ministry too,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so there's some people who are operating in certain positions, doctors, nurses, lawyers, whatever, who does not have the passion or the compassion to operate in those positions, but they're doing it just because that's what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
They had the opportunity presents itself, and then here they go. Just because you can don't mean you should, because that's the fastest way to misery when you don't think things through. You start doing things just because you have the talent or just because you have the availability. Oh my goodness. And let's not talk about the people who are taking up positions just because they have the availability.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have the availability don't mean you have to attend that certain event. You have to discern if that event is even for you, so you're not wasting time. We got to get out of the habit of wasting time and wasting energy, right? Some of us are so well kept with our money, but when it comes to time and energy, we just we fall by the wayside. We don't
Mm-hmm.
protect our energy. You know, and when it comes to time, money, and energy, I always say this one thing. I say save it, sow it, spend it, but never waste it. Because when you save and you sow, there's something that comes back. There's something that you have, right? You save it, you sow it, you spend it, but you never waste it. So when you operate with your energy and your money and your time, you don't want to be wasting it, because there's nothing in it when you're wasting it. There's nothing that come back to you when you waste it. And you definitely don't want to be going to waste by wasting your gifts on people who don't intend on using it. How is it that somebody can sit there and listen to you pour out your heart and not have any reaction, but also act as if you never said a thing?
Mm.
How is that?
Mm.
And whose fault is it? Is it yours for giving, or is it theirs for not receiving? Which one is it? Tell me in the comments. Which one is it? Whose fault is it when you're giving to somebody and you're pouring into them and they're not receptive? So this is the thing we want you to understand. To have discernment concerning where you sow your time, where you sow your energy, and where you even sow your money. Because everything can be available, but not everything is available for you. And you can do everything in the world and still not be enough for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So once you understand that discernment, then you know just because you can, don't mean you should. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Tichet, that's so true. And attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, I want you to take out your notebook, your attractive thinker notebook, because I want you to take some notes on this. Capture these gems, because sometimes you may not know how to discern. You use that word a couple of times. You say you have to discern these types of situations, because just because you can doesn't mean you should. So you might say, well, how do I know whether I should or not? Let's talk about conversations. Attractive thinkers have accomplishments. We create things. We're excited about this dream and idea coming into fruition, and we look for someone to share it with. When you have an accomplishment and you have a success that you've achieved in your life, you look for someone to share it with. And most of the time, if you're like me, you may not have had anyone to share that with, maybe one or two people, or you settle for sharing it and celebrating yourself. Taking that time, setting aside the time, because if you don't have anyone to share your successes with, it becomes easy for you to just bulldoze your way right through the success, not acknowledge it, and move on to the next accomplishment. So when it comes down to conversations, how do you know, how can you discern if this is the right person to share with or to help, if this is the person that needs the solution that you provide? Number one, Tichet, when people are receptive, they're open to what it is that you have to say or what it is that you have to share. You can discern whether someone is receptive or not. You can tell, and their words are not the only indication. I'm really big on body language. You
Yes.
know, Dr. Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they really are, believe them. Energy does not lie. And we have a section in the Attractive Thinker book on that. People are spirits and energy does not lie. You want to read that section. Let me pull it up right now so you'll know exactly what page to go to, because this is important. Attractive Thinker. People are spirits and energy does not lie, page 516. You want to read that today after you hear this message, because people's words are not the only indication. It's not the only thing that you can discern. You say, well, how can I discern it? We're talking, I really can't tell whether they're receptive or not. Their energy, and check this out. This is what I mean by when I say their energy. The conversation turns into an argument. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. You don't continue trying to prove your point or explaining yourself in the conversation. If
Yes.
you're sharing your success with another person and it ends in an argument or it begins to turn into an argument, pull back. They're not the right person to share your success with. If you're sharing your success with someone and it starts to turn toxic, that person could be jealous of your success, and that person, and another aspect of that, to share, it may have nothing to do with you. Your success is bumping up against the areas in their life that they haven't developed.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
succeeding in an area that they wanted to succeed in, or it may be totally different areas. You're having success in your life, and they have regrets in their life. They haven't stepped up to the plate in their life, and they see that you've stepped up to the plate in yours. So you have to discern this kind of energy, because it can destroy you if you don't have the proper perspective of people's responses to your success, of
Yeah.
people's responses to the solutions that you provide. Another way to shed is to discern whether you're talking to the right person, or sharing your gifts with the right person or not, or sharing your business products and services with the right customer and client or not, is when the tone becomes disrespectful. See,
Mm.
their energy, the conversation may not turn, it may not turn into an argument, but the tone becomes disrespectful, sharp and short answers, or answers with condescending tones. You have to discern that, you have to pick that up, because it's an indication that you're sharing your precious gems and jewels with the wrong person. Or you're not talking to your right ideal audience or ideal client, or a customer, somebody who really needs what you have to offer. You begin to see a disconnect. You know you're talking to the right person, because see, just because you have answers doesn't mean that you should provide them. You have to discern if this is the right person that really can benefit from what I am offering. And the way, when I say can really benefit, yes, as a health coach, I see this happen a lot. Yes, the answers that I provide to the body, concerning the body for health, yes, they can heal, but they're not for all sick people, because there are some sick people that don't want to be well.
Yeah.
They like eating their unhealthy foods. Or see, let's go a little bit deeper. As a health coach, I've experienced some things. Some people like their sickness and dis-ease because it's a conversation starter. Number two, it's another opportunity to get sympathy and empathy from people. When you're walking around talking about how bad you feel and how bad it hurts, you um, tend to want people to feel sorry for you. You're doing it in an attempt to get people to feel sorry for you, or offer you things. You'd be surprised, because it was a shocker to me, to shed, when I realized that everybody didn't want to be well. And I remember you said to me many years ago, you said, Dr. Toni, you're not here to heal all sick people. You're here to heal sick people that want to be well. That's a difference. I hope you caught that, attractive thinker and visual encourager. Your products and services may be an answer to millions of people, but it's not for millions of people, because millions of people don't want it. Everybody doesn't want to help themselves become better, or they don't want solutions to their problems. Some people love to complain. Take their complaining away, and they don't even have anything to talk about. Think about this for a moment. So, another way to recognize and discern whether you're sharing your products and services or your achievements with the right person, the energy changes. You can see a disconnect. So let's talk about that. How can you see a disconnect? They're no longer looking at you while you're talking. They're looking at the floor, they're looking at the wall, they're looking at their phone. That's a big one. They're looking at their phone. They're distracted by something else. They're watching TV. They're not looking at you while you're talking. It could be me. And to share, correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm standing there having a conversation with someone and it's just me and the other person, I want them, I feel connected. I feel like we're making a connection, that we're actually communicating when we're looking at each other. Because communication, as I just said, it's not just words. It's not, one of oh, here's another one. If you say, I'm talking to you, hello, hello, they say, I can hear you. They're not looking at you, but they say, I can hear you. See, that's body language that is a sure sign that they are disconnected from what you're saying. They're not invested in what you're saying. They can care less about what you're saying. They don't see the value in what you're saying. And you have to pick this up as a new and aspiring entrepreneur, or it's going to wear on your self-esteem. It's going to make you feel like what you have to offer is not of value. Because if you settle and tolerate, and we have a section in the Attractive Thinker book on coping mechanism and things that people do to cope. If you tolerate that in one instance, that same energy spills throughout your business. And you'll find yourself tolerating that from customers and clients. You're coaching a client and they're not even looking at you, or they're on their phone, because you initiated that energy with the first interaction. You tolerated it with the first interaction. And now that energy is a part of your experience and it affects every other interaction going forward. You have to stop it at the gate and not settle for it or accept it. When you're sharing your achievements with someone, you're sharing your products and services and solutions with your customers and clients, and they're disconnected, they're turned, and they're looking in the other direction, stop talking. Pull back, stop sharing, cut it off. And that way you're not conditioning yourself to attract customers and clients that are disconnected from what you're offering. You have to take a stand for the gifts that you bring to the world, the solutions that you provide in your business. Another way people are showing signs of disconnect, when you're talking to them, sharing your achievements or sharing your products and services and solutions, they're tapping their feet while you're talking. Have you ever seen somebody do that? You're talking to them and they're shaking their leg or tapping their foot or tapping their hand on the table. What is that saying to you? They want you to hurry up and finish talking.
Yep.
They don't want to hear what you have to say. They're not interested and you're irritating them.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Don't be in denial about this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be in denial about this, because one day you'll look up and you'll have a whole host of clients that do that to you. And you'll wonder why. How could you have attracted these types of clients? Is because you tolerated it in one.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you tolerate it, you open the door for the rest of it to come in. For more people like them to be in your experience. So, how do you discern that people are disconnected from your conversation, from the words coming out of your mouth, when you're sharing your achievements and successes and when you're sharing solutions with your clients and customers? How do you know they're disconnected? You can look in their eyes and see that they are zoning out. They are disgusted. They are tuning you out. You can look in their eyes. If somebody's eyes begin to get closed, more closed, and they're looking at you like this, that's not saying something to you. That's not normal. And we can't excuse that away just to be nice. Say, oh, well, maybe they were tired. They weren't tired. They weren't that tired. You're standing there and you're talking to someone and they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the beginning of the conversation. All of a sudden they start looking at you like this. Discern the energy. Tichet, here's a big one. You share an accomplishment with someone and you're excited about it, and they say nothing.
Mm.
And you enter into the silence. You're like, let me give you an example. Oh my gosh, you're not gonna believe what happened today. I was manifesting some. I had was visualizing, and I was reviewing some of my notes and some of the desires and dreams that I had, and just randomly, I wasn't really, trying to focus on anything, but just randomly, I just set it out into the atmosphere. Um, Let me get an endorsement for my business today. It's time for my business to have an endorsement, for me to be supported. It's time for me to stop doing everything by myself and be supported. And all of a sudden, I'm just going about my day. I wasn't really thinking about anything. And I get a phone call, and this company has been watching me for some time, and they want to have a meeting about how they can support and further my message. And then you stop talking, and then you enter into the silence.
You look just like this.
Yeah, that's good. That is so true, Tishet. Yes, and that's a sign. Don't ignore that. Don't be so don't be so nice that you into denial when people are standing right in your face showing you, like Dr. Maya Angelou said, showing you who they are. You don't inquire. Don't try to excuse it away, and don't try to find out why. You don't need to know why they're acting like that. Just end the conversation, and remember not to do that again. Because if you engage again with this same person, knowing the response that you got the first time, Dr. Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they really are, believe them. And Oprah added, the first time. Believe them the first time, not the 100th time. Believe them the first time. Because if you do it again, what you're saying is, I'm opening my spirit to this kind of interaction. I'm okay with people responding to me this way. And then you begin to bring on more customers and clients that respond the same way. And then you wonder why you're struggling to prosper in your business, or you wonder why the coaching session is so stressful. You wonder why during the coaching session you feel resistance and they're not receptive. Is because you brought somebody into your business whose energy wasn't open to receiving your solutions. So this is important, this discerning, because just because you can attract a thinker and visual encourager, just because you have the solution doesn't mean that you're supposed to share it with everyone. It's for someone, not everyone. So think about, and there are millions of people just like that someone that are your particular clients and customers. You have to discern that. And in order to even take stock in discerning, to shed, you have to value yourself enough to say, I am not going to stress myself out during this coaching session. I
Mhm.
am not going to stress myself out in this conversation trying to explain to you that I didn't mean it that way, or I was just trying to say it this way, or do this, or I was just trying to encourage. Let me tell you something. People know me, and they already know that all I do is encourage, inspire, provide solutions, heal, help, and support. So when I enter, someone enters into my space and falsely, I'm using this as an example, and falsely accuses me of trying to embarrass them, shame them, show them out, act like I'm better and all this and that. You don't, number one, you don't know me. You don't understand the attractive thinker movement. You're not open to answers and solutions. You have work to do within yourself. Anytime somebody's standing before you with a loving heart and you're discerning it as toxic, you have a lot of work to do because you're projecting your toxicity on a pure heart. And to the pure hearted, if you don't know that you're pure hearted and know who you are, you can begin to treat yourself like people treat you.
Mhm.
So, this is a very important message to shed for attractive thinkers and visual encouragers around the world. When you guard the gifts that you bring to the table and you understand the gifts that you bring to the table and you know who you are, you will naturally attract the people that are for you, the people that have the problems that you solve. Now, another aspect of this to share is every time you say something, they say something negative or contrary. No matter what idea you come up with, it could be something like, okay, we're going to the concert. The first thing they say out of their mouths is, well, you know, it's a lot of traffic down there, and you know it's supposed to rain, and you know it's that's not in a good neighborhood, and you know those tickets are kind of high. After you pay for the concert ticket, the parking is an arm and a leg. And what are we doing? What are we doing? We just talked about going to a concert. And this is what I want to say to you, attractive thinker and visual encourager. Just as many negative responses and scenarios that a person can create, there are more positive responses and scenarios that you can experience as well. Yes, I understand it's raining. I will be mindful driving in the rain, but we're going to the concert. Yes, I understand the tickets might be a little bit pricey, but because I want to go, it's valuable to me and it's worth it. See, you have to discern who is feeding into you, because if you don't, people will talk you out of your greatness.
Yeah.
They will talk you out of your joy. They will talk you out of your wealth. They will talk you out of wonderful experiences. When you don't know, it's very pricey and expensive not to know who you are in these days.
Yeah.
So you have to discern these types of things. Um, you mentioned events. Just because you get an invitation, attractive thinker and visual encourager, to an event doesn't mean you have to go. Just because they invite you doesn't mean you're obligated to go. See, we feel that sense of obligation. Well, they invited me. They didn't have to invite me. I'm so glad they thought about me and all this and that. The question is, do you want to go? The question is, what is your spirit saying? What happened to your energy when you got the invite? Were you excited about the experience and the event when they told you what was going to be happening at the event or who was going to be attending? I think there was a celebrity, Tichet, and I want to say it was Tyrese. I could be wrong, but I want to say it was Tyrese. He said when he gets an invitation, he wants to know who's on the guest list. He's not positioning himself and rolling up in all kinds of energy, putting himself in situations where there's energy that might be contrary to his energy. He wants to, because he's protecting who he is. He's protecting his energy. Just because you get an invitation doesn't mean you have to go. I had another attractive thinker just this weekend got a major invitation to an awesome event. And this is like, I won't say it's not a once in a lifetime event. It's a once a year event, but it was a once in a lifetime because of who was going to be there. Those types of events only happen once in a lifetime because people move on, they change, they grow, they pass. It's just a once in a lifetime that this a number of people and caliber of people are going to be all in one location at one time. And I asked them, I said, what is your spirit saying? And they were getting invitations. People wanted them to come, and somebody even offered them a ticket. I was like, wait, hold, wait. You okay? You got to check your energy. Number one, what is your energy saying? And then you have to ask yourself, why is everyone inviting me? And then why would someone get me a ticket? You gotta ask yourself these questions, because all opportunities that come your way are not blessings. All offers, put it that way. Every time somebody offers you something, it's not a blessing. So you have to ask yourself, tune into your energy. Your energy is real, and it's alive, and it's awake, and it's responsive. You talk about discerning to shit. We need to know our own energy and how it moves, how it responds, how it answers within us. So my question to them was, what is your energy saying? Well, I could go. I don't have to go. It's my energy is kind of lukewarm. It's not exciting. I said, let me tell you something. As attractive thinkers, if it's not a definite yes, it's a definite no. As attractive, you say, well, it's just an event, or it can't hurt, or that harmful. What is your spirit and your energy saying? As attractive thinkers, we must stay on fire. We must stay connected to the power, because we're not doing common things. And we have to be led by the spirit. The spirit maneuvers and leads and guides, and we get into small places. It'll weave and bob you right through certain challenges and opportunities and obstacles and all kinds of things. You have to trust and rely on and keep, number one, the spirit and your connection and how you feel in your life as a priority. So you can't just say, okay, spirit, I'm gonna leave you home and I'm just gonna go to this event. I'll pick you up when I come back. You can't do that, because you don't know what's at the event, that your spirit is not exciting you about going to the event. You don't know what you're going to encounter there. And you might say, well, I may not encounter anything. It just may be just, just hanging out. That's what we do as attractive thinkers. We just hang out and shoot the breeze. That's what we do. Attractive thinkers and visual encouragers are intentional. We are set apart. We are set aside because we carry an energy and a power with us that solves problems, that breaks barriers, that breaks chains. You can't randomly just be placing yourself any and everywhere and think that that's not going to affect your energy, and think that that's not going to make your spirit feel a certain way. I used to tell my kids when they were younger, people are spirits. It's in the book. I believe I just mentioned it on page 517. People are spirits and energy does not, 519, and energy does not lie. If people are spirits, Tichet, let's roll back just a little bit. We are light. And I want you to think about that. You've heard it said so many times. If you believe that we are light, what is light? Energy. If we are light and light is energy, then we are affected by energy. If people are spirits, which is light and energy, if people are energy, then their energy affects our energy. Don't be in denial about that. Their energy does affect our energy. And we have examples from that experience all throughout our lives. Whether we're in denial of it or not, whether we want to accept it or believe it or not, we have examples all throughout our lives. You enter into a room and you feel something. Someone else comes into the room, you feel something. Somebody sits next to you and you feel something. You can go into a movie theater or a roller skating ring or a restaurant and you feel something. Environments carry energy. People are energy. So if that's true, then we are responsible for guarding and protecting our energy. You can't place your energy in every environment and expect to grow. Every environment has a specific set of resources where only certain things can grow there. And if those resources aren't coded with you to grow there, why are you there? Before you step into an environment, look around and ask yourself, what is growing here? Because if nothing's growing there, how do you expect to grow there? If apples are growing there and you wanted lemons, well, you just going to bulldoze your way through there and say miraculously you're going to make some lemons grow when only apples are growing? This environment is only conducive for apples. And see, that's where we enter into the struggle, Tichet, and put forth all this work and effort, trying to force something to happen, whereas you can go over here where they're growing lemons and enter into ease and flow. You can go over here where your clients are hungry for what you have to offer and they'll pay anything for it. I know I did. And I will continue to do it throughout my life. If somebody has a solution for me, I will pay for it. So you don't have to worry about trying to convince people to purchase your products and services. Either they aren't in enough pain, they don't want it bad enough, or they don't want to be free from that pain, whatever that is. There's a lot of reasons why people don't pay for solutions. But you let that pain get great, they will look for a solution from anybody.
Yeah.
You let that pain hurt bad enough, you let that pain have some effects, some detrimental effects, they will open their wallet and give you everything in there to ease that pain. So if you're talking to people, potential customers and clients, and you find yourself trying to convince them that your products and services are their solution, you're talking to the wrong person. My coach didn't have to convince me to pay her thousands of dollars to coach me in my business. I reached out to her. She didn't have to come find me. She didn't even know who I was. I discerned that she had an answer that I needed. She had a process that I needed in my business, and I paid her for it. We didn't have to do a consultation. She didn't have to go down the list and tell me what she provided and what I would get. I already knew in my spirit what I was going to get when I invested in myself through her. See, that's what we have to get an understanding about, Tichet, as new and aspiring entrepreneurs, as attractive thinkers, vision encouragers, people who want more out of life, people who are go-getters and risk takers, and people who step out of the box and can't get accustomed to the rat race and the matrix and whatever you want to call it. You know in your spirit that there's more to life than what you're doing. I knew it in my spirit. Even as a young girl, my mother used to tell me all the time, she used to call me the why child because I wanted to know why. Why are we doing this? Why are we going here? Why are we wearing this? There had to be a reason. As a teenager, and I remember walking down the street and I would say to myself, there has to be more to life than homeschool, work, and church. You mean to tell me, and as a teenager, this was my thought to share. You mean to tell me this is what I'm going to do with my life until the day I die? Until I take my last breath? I said, whoa, 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 whoa. And as a young person, as a child, your mind can't even perceive 5 or 10 years from the age that you are. But the thought of me knowing ahead of time what my life was going to be like forever, it didn't sit well with me because these things weren't stimulating the power that was in me, making me feel alive. And I wasn't willing to spend my entire life doing things that didn't add to the greatness inside of me, didn't stimulate the greatness inside, didn't activate the power in me. And I know that's how you feel as an attractive thinker and visual encourager. Just listen, why are we talking about this topic? Just because you can doesn't mean that you should, because it's a way to preserve your energy. It's a way to preserve your power, to save you some time, to save you some heartache, to save your energy and your effort. Why would you exhaust yourself talking to someone that does not want to hear what you have to say? What is the gain? Where is the return? Arguing, and what is the end result? We're arguing, and what are we winning? What am I going to win in this argument? Nothing.
Right.
So you don't further the conversation, you back out of it. You say, you know what, no problem. I used to say this to Shannon, and I got to the point, I said, you know what, no problem. That was me. You know me, I'm just a risk taker. I'm just this out of the box thinker. It's just me and my big imagination. Don't worry about it. I ain't trying to impose myself on you. And you walk away, and you be okay with it, and you walk away. Relieve people, because here's the honest truth. If me as an attractive thinker am sharing something, one of my accomplishments or an idea, oh my God, I can't share my thoughts with everybody because they're too deep, they're too out there, so I reserve them for people that I can share my thoughts with. But let's use this as an example. I share one of my attractive thinker thoughts with someone who's not a thinker. Can you imagine the torment to that person trying to understand me, trying to understand what I saw in a vision or what I feel in my spirit? That's not fair to them. That's abusive. To try and continue to explain, you mean you don't see that? Oh, you don't understand? I don't understand how you don't understand it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Talk to the right people who understand you, who get you, and where the conversation flows and there's no resistance and arguing and bumps in the road. You can save yourself and them a lot of heartache, because just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Back to you, Tichet.
There's a lot of benefit from staying true to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you said, talking to somebody who's not receptive, who's not interested in anything you have to say can be abusive to them, right? But also to yourself,
Yeah.
because you're sowing with the intentions of reaping,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not happening. You're just getting that blank stare. You're getting,
Yes.
they start turning their feet, like you said, or start shaking and things like that. And so you end up taking their action and putting it on yourself and saying, maybe I was born. Maybe, maybe what I was saying just doesn't make sense. Maybe something wrong with me if you don't know
Mm-hmm.
who you are, right? And this is why it's important to know who you are, because when you come up and interact with people who, like you said, you're attractive thinker who is not a thinker,
Yes.
you don't want to lose yourself trying
Mm-hmm.
to force them into taking information that ignited you. And then you end
Yes.
up thinking that information was just trash because it didn't ignite you, because
Mm.
it didn't ignite them. And you
Yes.
say, maybe something wrong with me. This is why it's important to understand who you are. When you have hurt, is you have seeds
Mm-hmm.
and you have fruit that you need to give. You need to go where the people are hungry. Because if you keep serving people, and everything that she talked about with business, put it in your love life, put it in your work life, put it in your church life, put it all, add that all around, right? How you do anything is how you do everything, right? When you start trying to serve people who are not hungry, they will nitpick you to pieces. And if you're not comfortable, they will nitpick you till you start treating yourself like trash. You know what I mean? I remember being an artist a while ago. Before I was a graphic designer, I was just an artist. And I would create these artistic visions and things like that. And I look at them to the day, and to me, they pretty good. But you have somebody who, you show somebody your art, and you're excited. You're like, look here, I finished it. Look at this. And they go, what's that thing over there? What's this? You gonna put it like that? Ooh. That's how, you look at their face. Oh. Yes. And you start reading the room. There's some benefits to reading the room here, right? And they go, you gonna put that over there? Oh, I don't know about that. But you gonna this, and they start nitpicking every little thing. They did that so much. And this is before I found out how much of a gem I was, right? I didn't know who I was at all. And I was into people pleasing. That's a conversation we really need to get into, right? I was into people pleasing. I wanted everybody to be happy with me. I wanted everybody to cite me. I was pick me, choose me. What about me? What about me? I had all that going on, and the guilt going on, and fueling all of that, right? And so they nitpick it and nitpick it and nitpick it. And next thing you know, I start, why did I put that over there? Why did I put that up there? That was supposed to be a butterfly. Maybe it don't look like a butterfly. And then you start nitpicking it straight into the trash. You know how many art I threw in the trash once I was done nitpicking? Because I would nitpick it before I take it to them. If I take it to them like this, they just gonna say it. They didn't even have to say anything after a while. So that's the thing. When you're dealing with certain people, they're not even gonna have to say anything for a while. You'll shoot yourself down. Wow. You'll sit there and say to yourself, well, that's just too much. You're just doing too much. You just, that's too much going on. They're not gonna understand it. No, and you think just because they don't understand it, nobody's gonna understand it. But here's the thing. There will always be a person that will come into your life and look at something you thought was trash and turn it into treasure. Yes. They'll look at something that you have nitpicked and say, what is this doing over here? Girl, why is this not out? This is a calling right here. You got something going on right here. And then you like, huh? And you're shocked. Because you thought it was trash, because you were so used to people making what you had to give trash. And see, that's the thing we shifting in 2023. We are not trash. We don't produce trash. We're not going to sit in trash. We're not interacting in trash. And we don't have no dealings in business, in health, in anything with trash. Yes. Because we don't want to trash results. That's right. We all know that our life is built up through a series of yes and no's, acceptance and rejection, right? When someone say, hey, would you like to be an artist? Or not someone say, but you look at the opportunity to be an artist and you say, yes, I'm going to sit there and draw. Or do you want to be a singer? And yes, I want to sit there and sing. Do you want to deal with a person who really don't have your best interest in heart? Yes, but I think I can change them. You have all of these different things where you're trying to, because you see potential. Potential means nothing without movement. If you're dealing with somebody just because they got a lot of potential, what movement is adding to that potential? Because that potential alone ain't it, right? And so we have to understand that and put that in everything. There are some things that we are doing that has potential, and we've been trying to force it. There's some businesses, there's some ideas, there's some conversations, there's some friends that we have been trying to interact with. And we're trying to force it because it has potential to be a great, she like to go out, I like to go out, but you might not like to go out to the same places. Every time you go out with her, she gets into an argument with somebody, and then you got to get in an argument trying to protect her, and it takes you out of character.
My God.
But you just wanted to be able to go out, so you don't have to go out where they go out. You can go out where you can flourish and not die. There should be not never been a conversation that happens after this point that you allow to kill you, to kill your spirit.
Yes.
Because once you understand what we're saying, from this point on, that's your responsibility.
That's right.
Do I want to keep communicating with people who's going to tear down my spirit and take me out of my character? I left a job, a good job, a job that most people would have loved to have. And my family was like, a lot of people don't get those opportunities. And they was like, why would you leave the job? They got great benefits, this, that, and the other. The reason why I left the job is because I didn't like who I was becoming after dealing with them. I didn't like who I was at the end of the day. I was a worker bee, a hard worker bee, right? I love to work. I love to get in there and I love to do stuff. And these people were making me out. I mean, they were turning me into lazy because I didn't want to do anything for them because they complain every time I do something. So I left because I was trying to maintain my integrity. And every day it was tested. Every day you find yourself arguing back and forth. And I'm a sweet person. I'm a strong person, but I'm not mean, but I'm not about to let you bulldoze me.
That's
right. And so they were making me into something I couldn't be proud of at the end of the day. There's not enough money in the world to pay me to operate outside of integrity. You know, I could have stayed there. I was there for years. But they were turning me into something. And that's because I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
When you don't know who you really are, let me tell you something. There's so much benefit in taking the time to understand who you are at a core level. Once you understand your full foundation, you're not going to let any and everything come and change you. You're not going to operate outside of who you really are, saying yes when you should have said no. You know, going to places that make you feel a certain way. And why are we going to places that downs our spirit instead of making us feel alive? The point of going to these places because you want stimulation, but you don't want all kinds of stimulation.
That's right.
You don't want to be mentally stimulated in a way that causes you to have anger, depression. You know, the thing is a lot of us are covered in guilt. So we feel like when these people invite us to places and call us, we have to answer. We feel like we have to talk to the people. We have to try to help them. We have to give them what we just learned. We feel like we have to, and that's a guilt. Because they're not even hungry and you try to force them your food. So what happens is your food go unappreciated because they didn't look at it like, you're going to eat that. And if you don't know what you got in your hand, you'll look at it like, is it nasty? This is why you're supposed to be stable in who you know, grounded in who you are. This is why you're supposed to be grounded in who you are, right? Because you don't want to be flapping away with the wind. One of the things you were talking about, if you have to talk yourself into it, it's a no, right? If you have to, that's one of my rules. If I have to convince myself to do it, then I need to stay true to myself and say, it's a no, right? We so busy and we talked about this last week, we're so busy looking for what we call valid or valuable information for us to say no versus going with the fact that my spirit does not resonate with what you have to offer, right? And so we end up going in a direction of people pleasing. It is so much freedom when you get out of the habit of people pleasing and living in guilt. It is so much freedom with that, because then you get to see who you are uniquely and individually. You get to see who you how genuine your heart is, right? And so you get to meet your authentic you. And that's something that you can't pay for. That is something that is so priceless and loving when you meet your authentic self. And then you stay true to your authentic self as if you are in a relationship with yourself. Okay, so here's the thing. When you're in a relationship with a person, let's say you was in a relationship with a person you enjoyed, right? You love that person, you have a heart for that person, y'all running together. And somebody invited you to a place that harms them, you would say no. Why would you not say that to yourself? Again, we go with valid reason. You don't have a good reason that is strong enough to say no. You could be sick and will truck to a place that had no benefit, and you end up wasting all that time sitting there and not being able to wait till you get home. Another thing, Dr. Toni, when you talked about the body language, I wanted to tell the attractive thinker and the visionaries to pay attention to how they respond when people are talking. So when somebody is talking to you and you don't feel comfortable, what do you normally do? This is how another way you can discern somebody else's spirit is what does your body normally do when you're ready to go? Like you said, when your legs are shaking. When your legs are shaking, what are you saying to the people? Do you even know? Because you should. You should know what your body is saying. Listen to your body at all costs. There's people who can benefit from you staying true to yourself.
Yes, always.
Number one, you get out of the way and you leave room for the people to do what you should not do. Right? Not what you can't do, because you can do a lot of things, but you leave room for the people who have the compassion for what you should not do. And then also you leave room and you leave room open enough for you to walk into what you should do. A lot of our lives is taken up by what we shouldn't do. A lot of our time is taken up by things we shouldn't do. We got a whole job on something we don't even like to do. Imagine waking up every day and going to a place you hate for money to pay for something you still can't afford. It ain't enough money in the world for you to want to do that. But you wake up every day and you go to this place and you give your all. And at the end of the day, you drained, you go to sleep, you wake up, you do it all over again, day after day after day. On your day off, you got to recover and recuperate. And then it's like a blink of an eye, and then you're back to your hamster wheel. What kind of life is that if there's no good stimulation in between? If there's no life, no living in the midst of your days, what good is living? You have to create a human experience that nobody's going to give. You got to create a human experience that you love, and nobody's going to give that to you. That is built through a series of yes and no's. The guilt of saying yes when you should say no stifles that, your ability to build the life that you want. So we got to get out of that spirit of guilt. Why do I feel like I have to answer every call? You don't. You've reading a book and the book is powerful, and then somebody with drama call you and you stop reading your powerful book to answer that drama, and now they're drama because you're drama because you didn't accept their energy while they on the other line, not even listening to what you had to say, to go through the same situations over and over again. And you're telling them, girl, you need to just this, you need to that, you need to that. And they just going into drama over and over again. And then when you get off, you're frustrated because you're like, why won't they listen to me? And now you can't even get back to your book because your mind not clear. I'm not doing that in 2023 anymore. I used to. And you say the same things over and over again. I remember I used to say the same things so many times that I put it on a recording. So when the person would try to have an interaction, I would just press play, because I got tired of saying the same thing over and over again. And you would think I would remove myself from the conversation or the need to say it over and over again. But it wasn't until I removed myself from the conversation and the need to do it over and over again that the whole thing just, I moved all that out my life. I don't have to say any of it anymore. So we're saying to you to pay attention to yourself, to your body language, to your spirit, to the things you're saying yes to, the things you're saying no to. Pay attention to your heart, pay attention to your surroundings, your environment. We're saying pay attention to all of it. It's very beneficial when you build a life that when you look around, you see an image of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It is heartbreaking when you look at your life and you don't see nothing of you.
Mm.
I remember being at that point where I was like, I look around my own home, I don't see me. I look around and I look throughout my day, I don't even see anything that I like. And it's like, I just felt like, why am I here? Like, what's the point of being here?
Mm-hmm.
But life beyond the break is so much more powerful because we're not living a life for other people. We're living a life that is productive. We're living a life that is stimulating. We're living a life where you're excited, where you get to show up in your day. We're living a life of passion, compassion. We're living a life of abundance that you get to enjoy, right? You don't have to wait until you die to enjoy fruits. They're ready for you to enjoy now, right? Your harvest. You work so hard for that harvest. Why not enjoy it now? Why not have a life that at the end of the day, you are proud of who you are, you're proud of what you've done and what you accomplished, and you're proud of how your life looked, and you are excited to wake up and do it again tomorrow. That's life beyond the break. When you are excited to live, this is why I say it's a great day to be alive, because every day feels like a privilege to wake up and do this human experience every single day. I'm excited to walk through life and see what kind of things I could create every day, what kind of conversations with real beings that I connect with is going to be taking place today, what kind of things I'm going to be learning in that day. There's so many different things in throughout my day that I can be excited for. And so it went from me saying, why am I here? And I just don't want to be here. And, I'm just ready to go, to I get to live here every day. This is awesome. This human experience is awesome. I've learned to accept, the things that I cannot change. I've learned to accept everything about myself. I've learned to accept it and assess it and change what I could change, right? When you get to the point of moving beyond a break, and it takes work to move beyond a break, it's not an easy thing. We're not selling you an overnight result. This is something that's going to take time, right? Because there's so much to learn about you, because you're not just this minor person. If you're watching this, you're leadership, you got a lot going on, and a lot that's you have a lot for yourself, right? And so it's not going to be overnight for you to just all of a sudden have the life you love. You're going to have to walk. But the first thing you have to do is decide to get up and walk, and make that decision that no matter what, you're going to walk. You are never going back. You got to make a decision. I am not ever going back to that place where I'm allowing other people's opinions, other people's decisions, other people's lack of interest in me to affect me. Mm-hmm. I'm not letting other people dictate my life anymore. That's a freedom. When you can walk in your authentic self, that is a freedom. And you'll wake up every day and say, I get to do this, and I get to do it again tomorrow. And at the end of the night, you're excited to wait. It's almost like you don't even want to go to bed, but you have to get rest for the sake of your body. But you're so busy creating and creating and creating that you allow yourself the ability to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You can turn your whole life around. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to live a life that you're not proud of, that you're not happy with. You don't have to have those conversations. You don't have to live in that house. You don't have to work at that job. You don't have to have those friends. You don't have to do anything. Those are there through a series of yes or no. The question is, what are you willing to say yes to, and what are you willing to say no to? And when you get that decision, stand on that decision, walk in that decision, and see your life change to match that decision. Mm-hmm. Yes to being powerful. Yes to being loved. Yes to being abundant. Yes to being true to myself. Yes to being peaceful. Yes to being creative. Yes to having a stimulating life where you're learning and you're growing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes to you.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't about selfishness, but it's self-care. You can give so much more to the world when you understand self-care. You are more effective when you are at 100%.
Yes.
There were some people when I was in the other on the other side of the break, I couldn't do nothing for. I was too tired.
Mm.
All I could do was sit there and cry. There was no answers.
Mm.
I didn't have time or the energy to try to help anybody. But now, because I'm walking in my authentic me, all those who are willing to receive what I have to give, I'm up and ready and at them.
Mm-hmm.
And I give it better and better energy because I am better.
Yes.
So keep all of that in mind and just know that just because you can don't mean you should. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
So fantastic and amazing. Tichet, when I think about the attractive thinkers and visual encouragers around the world who are coming out of a break, be it a break in a success or a heartbreak, these resources and gems that we just shared today are essential to preserving your energy. Think about what we just talked about. When you're coming out of a break, something that broke your heart, you have to preserve your energy. You can't be scattered all over the place. You can't give everybody access to you. You're in a vulnerable state. You're in an unfamiliar territory, and you have to preserve your energy, your conversations, your thoughts and ideas. You have to preserve your feelings and emotions. You have to guard them. You have to preserve your time so you're not wasting it. You need everything, and you need all of the parts and pieces of you when you're coming out of a break and in unfamiliar territory so that you can heal properly, so that you can grow properly. One of the things to shed that was so instrumental to me in discerning. See, I was learning in my earlier years. I had to learn how the spirit functions in me. I had to learn how the spirit communicates to me so that I could reach my highest potential in my life's journey and experience when following the spirit. I can't follow something that I don't know how it communicates. I'm missing signals. I'm making decisions that I'm not supposed to make. I'm saying, like you said, saying yes when I should have said no, because I'm not discerning and in tune with how the spirit communicates with me. I remember when my son was very young. I think he was like 4 years old, and we had this decision that we needed to make about what school he was going to go to. And everybody who knows me and the attractive thinker message knows that my oldest son is blind. He had to have his eyes removed due to a cancer of the retina. When he was about almost 5 years old, he had had both of his eyes removed at different times. It was an extensive battle with this cancer and radiation and chemo and the whole 9 yards. So instead of him going through the schooling, the educational system, the normal route that children do, they had a school for the blind. And we went there because they had all the blind resources, Braille, talking this and bells and whistles over here for sounds and all kind. It was just accommodated at canes and travel. They had the instructors there and all kind. Everything was right there. But it was a tour. It was me, my son, and his father, and a tour guide. And we were following her walking through this big, huge building with these classrooms that had little adaptations in them and desks and chairs. And every now and then I saw a child in there. But as you know, the tour guide was talking and we were walking through the halls, I would look into the rooms. Remember, we talked about this. Pay attention, attractive thinker and visual encourager. We just talked about discerning what your spirit was saying. While the lady was talking, I was hearing her, but it was like a voice in the background because my spirit was in the forefront. I was discerning the atmosphere because my son was going to be here. And the energies of the rooms, it just didn't feel like home to me. And when I say home, I don't mean like my physical home. It didn't feel like a place where we could rest. It didn't feel like our
Mm-hmm.
resting place. It didn't feel like we were supposed to be here. And the more we went through the building and she was talking, and the more I was backing out. Remember, I said pay attention to people's energy when you're communicating with them. I was backing out of the conversation, meaning I wasn't keeping the pace with the footing, keeping up with her as she was moving. I kept falling behind because my spirit, something was, it was communicating to me, and I wanted to know what that was, because this is a major decision. Anytime a parent has to make a decision for a child's life, the number one thing we're thinking is, what decision that I'm making right now that this child is going to have to live with as an adult? That is a
Mhm.
weight on a parent, and you want to make the right decision. So I was tossed between, and to and fro. I wasn't even leaning towards this decision, this school that we were doing this tour in. So I found myself backing out and taking slower steps, and they were keeping the pace. And the more I took slower steps, I found myself a classroom apart from them, and then maybe two classrooms. They were two classrooms ahead of me down the hall, and I was just falling back, and I stopped, and I turned around, and I walked right out the front door. I left his father, my son, and the tour guide. They proceeded, and I went out the front door, and I stood on the steps. See, attractive thinker and visual encourager. This is about discerning your spirit. What is your spirit saying? You don't have, just because you can doesn't mean that you have to. We could have chosen that school, but just because they were offering it, and we just talked about invitations, just because somebody gave us an invite doesn't mean we have to say yes. I wanted to know what my spirit was saying, because the spirit knows all things. It can project into my son's adulthood. It already knew how he was going to turn out and what he needed to be successful. I had to tune into that spirit so that I can position him for that level of success as an adult. I'm standing on the porch, on the steps at this school, and the school is surrounded by trees. It was a beautiful environment. Everything was well protected. They had even the outside play, and the outside grounds were accommodating for a child that could not see. It was perfect. And I looked up to the sky, and the school is surrounded by trees. So I'm looking between, through the trees, and I see this blue sky, clear blue sky. And I said, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? Just like that. And I'll never forget the emotion and the expression, because I was a young parent and I was tossed between to and fro, and I didn't know what to do. I said, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? And then I entered into the silence. There was nothing. I didn't get an answer. And you know what that taught me, and that what I carried from that throughout the rest of my life that has benefited me? Follow peace.
Mm. Mhm.
Follow peace. I had peace with not allowing my son to attend that school. I had peace with leaving him in the public school setting and advocating and bringing Braille resources there to educate him around his sighted peers. And right to this day, my son will be 38, 37, or 38 this year. I have no regrets about that decision. When I look back
Mhm.
over it, I can't even find a regret. It was the perfect decision to make. Here's the kicker. Some people might say, well, Dr. Toni, yes, you opted to leave him in public school, and then you had to advocate and stand up for him and fight the system and keep showing up. Yes, and it was worth it. I didn't want to take the easy way out, because it would have been easy for me and hard on him as an adult. I took the hard route. I took the blows so he could have a better life, an easy life, as an independent man, not dependent and not handicapped. Because with a child, with a child with a special need, we as parents have the tendency to handicap them when they're not handicapped at all. So I learned in that experience to follow peace. I had peace with the decision that we made, and it was the best one. See, peace is very frail, but very powerful. You might be looking for God to holler out of heaven and give you an answer. No, He lives in you. He lives in you. And when you tune into you, you're tuning into Him. So the question is, what is your spirit saying on the inside? Cicely Tyson said it so well. She said, when she said, number one, she doesn't take every script, because she's an actress in movies and plays. She said she doesn't take every script. She said when she gets a script, she tunes in with her stomach and her spirit. She said, if my stomach turns, I don't take the script. I don't care what's involved, the money or the prestige or whatever. She said, but if I take this, if I'm somebody hands me a script and my skin tingles, then I take it. She said, if my stomach turns, I don't take it, but if my skin tingles. She was in tune with her spirit. And it is invaluable to be in tune with your spirit, attractive thinker, because just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
Mhm.
Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist. Tichet, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, the visual encourager, and any lasting comments that you might have.
Absolutely. You just said it right there. You just said to follow peace. That's all there is. Follow peace. When there's no answer and you don't know what to do, follow peace. I just wanted to reiterate that because a lot of us we're looking for an answer right now, and peace is what we need to follow. You can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com. We provide mental support for movers and shakers, for trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers, all of you visionaries who desire to move mountains but need help lifting the heaviness so that you can create a new vision for yourself. Go to my contact us page, put in your information. Let me know how I can uplift you, enlighten you, and encourage you so that you can live a life of fulfillment beyond the break. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com. See you soon.
Awesome. Attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, visit our website at theattractivethinker.guru and grab your freebies there. Run on over to Amazon and get your copy of The Attractive Thinker. You need that to further in these messages and fortify this message in you so that when experiences show up, you know exactly how to respond. You always hear us say, our life's work, that's to make your life better. It is not what you're going through, it's how you view it. Think attractively. And we'll see you soon.